at the nursing home pass a message down. LaQuana, myself, Arlinda Reese, and Gwen Garth will pass a message down. And then you, if you are selected, will pass a message down. The title of the book is Permission to Speak. So, you got these little kids running around, and I'm sorry, I need to indicate that it's a female project. No offense to the brothers. If you see these little bitty babies running around, you see them every day in your neighborhoods. Snotty nose, dirty clothes, being bad. What would you say to them that would take them into the next generation? That's the piece that we're looking for you to write. Permission to speak. Anybody know where that term comes from? What kind of proverb is it? African. In order for you to even say anything, you have to first have permission from your elders to speak. Mommy, speak for me. Do I have your permission to speak? Yes. Mommy, speak for me. Tell the world of the pain that I felt with the blow to my head as he left my body lying in the rain. Mommy, speak for me. Even though my body is not there, there must be someone who will listen. There must be someone somewhere. Mommy, speak for me. Not just for me, myself, and I. For there are so many children like myself, Mommy, who just want to know the reasons why. Mommy, speak for me. For was I bad? Did I deserve to die that way? Maybe you can get someone to tell you, Mommy, why children are being murdered in this world on today. But, Mommy, if they won't listen, don't you hang your head in shame. Just know that I love you, Mommy, and you did try just the same. That piece is about the children who can't speak for themselves, children who don't have a voice, premature, innocent graves. So, what I want to know today is I asked LaQuana to come up and talk a little bit about her books. She's not a talker in public, but she is doing so wonderful. We're going to give each one of the people journals. You have to be willing to commit to meet at the Fairfax Recreation Center once a month from 5 to 7. And I think it's like 5 or 6 meetings. We're going to go to the nursing home. We're going to interview the seniors. We're going to write about their stories. Then we're going to go to the Women's Pre-Release Center on 30th off Woodland. The inmates are going to work with us. We're going to write their stories. They're going to write our stories. There's going to be a whole lot of writing going on. But ultimately, only one of your pieces will be published. At the conclusion, we're going to have a reception, a book signing. Probably going to have TV 20 there to interview and to film. And then you'll get your books and we'll all go on our merry way. That sound exciting?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, LaQuana Grant.
The illustrious Yvonne Pointer. One more round. I am LaQuana Graham. I'm the author of My Soul on Paper. Right here. I wrote this book when I was 24 years old. How old am I now?
25.
Yes! 25. And I'm actually 31. Okay. I came on my second book called My Soul on Paper Part 2, Even Deeper. My third book is My Soul on Paper Part 3, Just When I Thought I Was Free. I have written these 3 books because I had a lot of issues in high school. And in school in general, and I didn't like to stand out, so I wrote poetry. Is poetry cool?
Yes.
Right? Okay, all right, come on, can we get some? All right, I wrote poetry, and so I said, I want to publish. My brother, this is him right here. He said he was 17 years old when he came on his first book, so he was in his senior year of high school, and he had his first book out. How cool is that?
Solid.
That could be you. That could be you. He had his first book out. We wrote what we was going through. We had poetry, but we talked about what happened. So it's just I read a poem and wrote it down, whatever. What was going on? What was going on with my father, my mother, and those type of issues. So I'm so excited to have my 3 books out. And I'm going to read a little bit for you. It's called Hole in My Heart. Bear with me. I'm learning this speaking engagement thing. Here we go. There's a hole in my heart where Daddy's love should have been. It's a place that needs to be mended before I can allow Mr. Right to be my friend. There's a hole in my heart from seeing the little kids at the store. I can feel it every time I look at Mom because she don't even smile anymore. I can feel the hole expand in junior high when a boy tried to rob me of my innocence. When I hear the truth from Mama, wishing my daddy would fix it. Each time I had to change my tire and put something together, I think about the hole in my heart and wonder if I had turned out any better. I think that deep down I wanted a father to be who God is in my life, to show me how a man really loves a woman, to give me the secrets to being a good wife. Some say too much TV and storybooks are good for you, but just look at what it did to me. It made me yearn for something intangible. It made me cry when I should have been asleep. They say that girls need their mothers, but even conception requires more than one person. And if Daddy couldn't show me love, maybe the void in my heart wouldn't be hurting. I plead and tried to reason with you until I became cold. Too shy to be nice, too mean to allow my true love to unfold. First step, first words, first day of school. The very first time I tied my own shoe. First report card, first job, and first car. All these things I did without you. First apartment, first day of college. And for everything you'll never see, in a strange way, I thank you. The hole in my heart made me. I'm looking forward to I hope someone comes and joins us at Fairfax. This is a phenomenal experience. I mean, we have some major things for you all. To be in high school with your own material is going to be phenomenal. I want to leave a few flyers with you, with your teacher, and I thank you for this time. Thank you.
All right. Word from the mother. For you to fully appreciate and understand this piece, I would need the full utilization of all 5 of your senses. I'll need you to see, hear, smell, touch, and taste. I got this idea while watching a pizza television commercial. 3 men were sitting around a table eating pizza. The first man had this huge nose, and he says, "Ah, smell the aroma." The second man had these huge lips, and he says, "Taste the flavor." And the third man had these big eyes, and he says, "Look at it." Finally, a man watering the grass around the corner who had these huge ears asked, "Can you hear that?" It's the funniest commercial that I had ever seen. This was a very creative way to use the senses to bring home a message. Keep the pizza commercial in mind. And I'm going to take you on a faraway journey to Ghana, West Africa. I was blessed to travel there, and I visited the youth involved in the Yvonne Pointer teen movement. The trip was both fascinating and life-altering. I cried most of the time that I was there. It was hard for me to believe that in 2007, some people were still living in such horrid conditions. Some of them didn't have running water, no toilets, and often they didn't even have food to eat. They lived in mud huts. We spent 10 days there. In order for you to comprehend this experience, I'm going to ask you to use all 5 of your senses. It was said that a man who walks through the castles, the dungeons of Elmina, a place where physical cruelties and torture chambers existed, one can feel the presence of the slaves in their iron shackles and hear the voices of those who cry in anguish. And to this I'm a witness. The first thing I ask you to do is to see. But to do this activities, I need you to shut your eyes real tight and no fair peeking. Come on, shut them. Shut your eyes. No fair peeking. Try to envision them, your great-great-great-grandparents, frightened, disoriented, mystified, famished, dehydrated, and fatigued. Picture them with chains so tight around their necks and ankles that they can barely walk a few steps without feeling his yank. Do you see the blood gushing from their ankles as they step gingerly over jagged rocks? Do you see their hands cramping like a 100-year-old man with severe arthritis? Can you see them stumble over one another as they lose their steps due to continuous and brutal lashes across their naked skin? Can you hear their cries? Hear the crying, especially for the children, and the unanswered groans for the consolation from the mothers. Can you hear the cries from the mothers who are unable to wipe away their own tears, let alone the tears of a crying child? Can you hear those ancestors that said nothing with their lips, but had consuming, torturous thoughts of panic and despair in their mind? Can you hear the vulgarism that was being hurled at their innocence, the vicious name-calling to unfamiliar to their virgin ears? Can you hear the clank of the heavy doors that further sealed their futures as they were headed into living quarters that were far too small? Can you hear the screams of the innocent women as their unblemished vaginas were shattered by the undesirable, puny penises, the drunken penetration, unlawful rapes, and further humiliation of the overseers of the castle and his merciless crew? Can you smell the stench of century-old urine and feces that piled up high around their waists? Can you smell the disgusting odor of monthly menstrual blood as it dripped? Can you smell the horrible scent of bodies decomposing, mingled with the living, those that died from either starvation or the sweltering heat? Can you smell the unpleasant odor of unwashed bodies baking in temperatures of more than 100 degrees, baking like hot cornbread fresh out of the oven? Can you smell the aroma of food cooking for the oppressor, but never reaching the famished mouths of the oppressed? Now, touch their scrawny frames as they pass through that door of no return to board rickety ships that will transport them into further destination of hell. Touch their flesh that clings loosely from underfed bones. Touch their skin that resembles the leather of their very belts around your waist, flesh as dark as midnight with the color red embedded within, symbolizing the shed of their innocent blood. Finally, taste the freedom that you now experience as a direct result of their suffering. Some survived all those atrocities just so that you can be born. Your ancestors survived just so that you could hear this peace. Now, what does that freedom taste like? Does the freedom cling to the roof of your mouth like a chunky peanut butter sandwich, or with nothing to wash it down with? Does it taste like your independence was purchased with their blood? Does it taste like freedom that couldn't be trampled out, starved out, or beaten down? Can you swallow that? Or does it get caught in your throats like an indigestible lump of stone clay? Yes, there's something in your mother's words saying such as, don't run with them scissors in your hand, boy. Get out of the street, you might get run over by a car. Or stay away from that boy, you know he ain't nothing but bad news. These words have kept us safe, provided us with guidance, and have given us both wisdom and instructions. Now, I want you to open your eyes. But do you see yourself living your life because your ancestors would not die? Well, if you can see it, hear it, smell it, touch it, or taste it, then you've got to use one more sense, and that's common sense. Because the word from the mother is help. I want to thank LaQuana for her piece as well. And we're not going to take up much of your time. I don't know how you're going to select the 10. I'm leaving that up to you.
Thanks.
But how many just offhand are interested in being a part? Oh, ooh. You know what? We may have to go over 10 and make this a part 1 and a part 2. But you have to be willing to commit to being at the Fairfax Recreation Center on the first Monday of every month. And we don't provide transportation. Now, if you get there and it's daylight, we're not going to have you going home at dark, even if we have to take you. But what I'd like you to do, Mr. Gray, is get names, address, phone numbers, and email or any other contact of those who are interested. Our first meeting is Monday, March 4th, next Monday. Next week, 5 o'clock. We will provide snacks, journals. Laquana picked up some journals. So we're going to ask you during the process to document. So at the end of the program, you will come up with your story, and I think we said 500 to 1,500 words. So you would have to take this whole document and reduce it down to what are you going to pass down to the next generation. Any questions for either me or Laquana? You can't do it? You know what? I'm going to say yes, even though we wrote it for girls. I don't want to, what is the word I don't want to do?
Discriminate.
Discriminate, yes.
Where exactly is the Fairfax?
Fairfax is 2345 East 83rd between Quincy and Central.
It's on 83rd.
83rd between Central and Quincy. It's a recreation center.
I'll make
Yes.
sure that we have the address for the.
Did you get the flyers that I sent?
Yeah, I did.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
I don't know. I'm kind of working on a unit of poetry as well. And I know it's really hard for me to like just sit down and kind of just center my thoughts. Like, was it hard for you, especially when you started writing about your daughter?
That's a good question. When I started writing about her, I didn't start it out as a book. It started out just trying to get the words. So y'all are writers, right? You writers. And you know how them words keep filling up.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have a piece of paper or an ink pen, you'd probably like explode. Your brains would just be everywhere. So I was trying to deal with her grief, and the only thing I knew to do was write it. And I would come to schools and read, and people say, oh, that's a book. And that's how it ended up published. Now, we are self-publishers, and we are so happy to even help you with that process as well. So say, for example, you're done with this, and we only want one story out of it. We want you to compile it, but what do you do with the rest? Both Laquana, myself, Gwen, and Ilinda, who all publish books, we can walk you through the process of self-publishing your entire piece. Now, and it's not that expensive. It's really not. So this may lead to more than we even anticipated. So keep writing, yes.
Well, my name is Tiffany.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi. I was wondering, what made you want to make an international school at our
Good
area?
question. As writers, do you believe that you have purpose in life? Everybody believe that. I know you do, because that's how deep you are. Well, I know that my daughter's death was not in vain. And I'm always looking for ways to keep young people alive. That's part of what I do. And I brought the bio that I leave with Mr. Gray. It talks about the award I won from Queen Latifah.
That's my girl.
Yeah, she's amazing. It'll talk a lot about it. So there was a boy in a village. Anybody been to Africa? You have? Where did you go?
I went to Nairobi.
Nairobi. There was a boy, so you know that they're actually villages still. And I don't mean like this. This is luxury. You might call it the ghetto, but they would call it luxury, right outside the window. So there was a boy in a village who hadn't eaten for 3 days. And he was pretty much starving. And he said he looked up and said to God, if you're real, why won't you at least give me something to eat? Simple request. When is the last time any of you just said, I want something to eat, God? You don't have to say it. Because every twist and turn, you got McDonald's, Kool-Aid in the refrigerator, Cheerios, you got something you can eat. But can you fathom not having anything. So he said, God, if you're real, why won't you at least feed me? And as he said it, he looked on the ground, and there was a piece of paper in a village in Ghana, West Africa, about the murder of Gloria Pointer. How did the piece of paper get there? At the feet of a boy who's questioning the existence of God. How did it get there? I was in a national magazine called Heart and Soul in 1997. The girl that wrote the article, she was from New York. That was 1997. 2003 is when he found it on the ground in Africa. How did it get there? Where had it been for 6 years? How did it happen and get in his feet? So he wrote to say he was sorry to hear about the murder of my girl child. What? How? What? Huh? So I said to God, what is this about? What do you want me to do? He said, I want you to feed him. How can I feed him when I ain't got grocery money for myself? He said, I'm going to make a way. You're going to write books. You're going to do all these amazing things. They're going to pay you, but don't get it twisted. It's not your money. Send it to kids in Africa, which will make a phenomenal project for this class now to think about it. Because I have the link to kids just like you. So I start sending the money. 5 years, I'm feeding kids. 10 of our dollars is $100,000 of their money.
What?
Yes. When you send $100 there, you almost send $1 million. So anyway, 5 years I'm sending money, feeding orphans, doing this. Then he says, Madame Pointer, the children would like you to come to Ghana to visit. Because he's in Ghana, and he started the Gloria Pointer teen movement. So they over in Africa talking about Gloria, doing all these wonderful things. So the way that I ended up getting to Africa was I won the award from Queen Latifah, and I flew over 5 years ago. When I got there, I cried for 10 days. Because my grandson goes here now. I'm one of them grandmas you love to have. You understand? You like sweet potato pie. Oh, baby, grandma finna make you a pie. Come on over.
Yes.
You know, so how in the world as a grandmother can I see children hungry like that? I'm just crying. And they were like, that's how this book, Word from the Mother. I'm like, this is not right. I'm going to do something about this. So it comes into my mind to build a school. Oh, who knows how to do it?